Okay, so our search team is preparing to make entry. We want to remember our fundamentals. Perform all your basic operations the way you normally would. So do your door assessments, control your doors, scan your spaces, read your smoke, and read your fire. So the entry team staggered at the door. We've got the lead element at the door. We've got the officer behind there. The door is open, door is controlled, and now the officer is scanning this space. He's doing a 360 approach, sides and up above. He deploys in that primary lead who's coming up, searching that floor. He gets this doorway, he's going to stop, he's popping a tile. We're visualizing that space overhead, make sure we don't have any fire over our heads. Once it's cleared, we're going to go ahead and get back into position, and then the officer is going to communicate with that team member to give him directives about how to move. We can see we've come to a junction here. The officer is going to be called up, communicated well with the lead member, and now the officer is making a decision about which way to travel. Again, he's going to be reading those smoke signatures, looking for his highest probability areas for victims and for fire, and then making a tactical decision about where to direct the search. On occasion, we're ready to progress down this common hallway now. We're going to have doors on our left, we're going to have doors on our right, and we're going to make sure that we're staggering those crews and clearing those rooms like we discussed. One of the important factors is that we ensure that that lead man pushes past the doorway. We want to make sure that we open up those door zones so that we can do our door checks, control our doors with our opening and closing, as well as deploy in our search members and do our thorough tick scans. Now, that last room that was cleared was a single room where the tick could clear all four corners of that room. We need to understand that we have to establish parameters for our searchers. So there's other rooms where we're going to open a door, we're going to assess that room, and we're going to see interior doors or multiple rooms or hidden zones that we can't clear.
Bobby, we've got an adjoining room. You're going to go in on the right hand. There's a door in 10 feet to your right. I'm going to follow behind you. Bobby.
When we encounter that, that's when that lead member is going to become an oriented man at the primary entry point or get bumped up to the next entry point. Subsequently, the search team member is going to come into this area and he's going to get deployed into this room with faces of the clock and distances to clear those zones. In a three-man team, that team leader, that officer, is going to have to assume some of that search load as well. So if you get into a room and you have multiple interior doors, you may elect to leave your lead man as the oriented man at the primary door. As the officer, you need to vacillate between those 2 points and potentially check or clear that additional room at that door with the thermal while you deploy your search member to another area.
Hey, Bobby, push in that room. Same search.
One very important consideration to understand is that we don't want to deploy this primary search bag into these interior rooms. The only time we're going to deploy this primary search bag into these interior rooms is when we're bypassing through them to gain access to another area. The problem with deploying these type of bags into dead ends or into interior rooms like this is when we go to make our way out, we end up with a large slack section of rope that either has to get restuffed into the bag or minded very attentively until it's played out again. So keep your bags and your oriented people at the entry points to these interior segments. Remember that as we add these extensions or the difficulty level of the search and how aggressive we're being, it's got to be dependent on the skill sets of your crew. It's imperative that you make an accurate assessment of making sure that you maintain integrity of that team. One of the best analogies we can utilize for that team leader or that officer is that it's much like playing defense in an athletic event type of applications. So when we play defense in a basketball game, we always want to visualize ourselves in a triangle formula. Ourselves, the man we're guarding, and the position of the ball. We want to use that same type of application within our team. So we want to stay between our lead man and our searchers in whatever configuration they go, ensuring that we can keep an eye and a verbal assessment on both of those entities.